I think there are too many talented investors. If you define talent as I've got the right training, I've got the right analysts, we have too many of them. In fact, one of my favorite books is Charlie Ellis, I'm sorry. He called investing the loser's game. And he called it the loser's game because he gave the analogy of being in a tennis club and being a professional player and everybody else is an amateur. They don't know you're a professional. So what do? You play each of them and you bet money. And the professional tennis player wins almost all of the time. He makes a lot of money. And then another professional player learns that he's making money. So he joins the club. Again, nobody knows but sooner or later, here's what happens. 35 of the 60 members of the club are professional players, and they play each other most of the time. My problem with active money managers is you're not beating mom and pop investors. You're playing against other investors who have exactly the same resources. They hire people from MIT and Stanford just like you do. They have big computers just like you do. They have access to S&P Capital IQ and FactSet just like you do. Where's your edge? That's why I said, don't tell me you're talented. Don't tell me where your analyst went to school. Tell me what you can do differently. Because without that edge, you can't beat the market. The market collectively will beat you simply because you're competing against other people of exactly what you have. Think of what happens in investing as idol worship. I've for a long time argued that those people who make that trip out to Omaha every year for what I call investing Woodstock, where they go to the Berkshire Hathaway meetings and they listen to Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger tell you what to do, are missing the boat. I tell people that the person you need to most understand to be a good investor is yourself. I tell people read less, think more. Understand where you're coming from, what makes you uncomfortable, what makes you comfortable. So are there people I admire? There are dimensions of people I admire. I admire Warren Buffett's core philosophy, that he's been faithful to that philosophy. I admire, if you look at George Soros, I admire his macro focus. There are things that people do that I admire. I admire Mike Mabusin's bringing together different disciplines. I admire people, parts of what people do, but there are other parts that I feel open about disagreeing with. I can admire Warren Buffett and also say he was wrong when he sold airline stocks based on what I thought was very empty reasoning. So I think you can admire people and disagree with them. Don't put them on a pedestal. I think old-time value investing is in trouble. What I mean by old-time value investing is you're told to buy stocks that trade at low multiples of book value, or even below book value. You're told to buy stocks that pay big dividends. I think that was an investment strategy that worked really well in the last century. It's no longer working, and here's why. Book value means a lot less now than it did 30 years ago. 30 years ago, when you looked at the book value of a company, you were looking at manufacturing companies. Book value actually reflected what they had invested in land and building and equipment and machinery. Today, if you look at a technology company, your book value means almost nothing. What does the book value of Microsoft even mean when the bulk of your value comes from intangible assets? So book value-based investing, which is what a lot of old-time value investing is, has lost its way. You're saying, what about dividends? More and more companies globally, not just in the US, are shifting away from dividends. Dividends are sticky. You have to pay them in good times and bad times. Companies are shifting to more flexible ways of returning cash. I know there's a huge debate about stock buybacks, but at the core of the shift to stock buybacks is the fact that buybacks are flexible. You can stop them when you're not doing well. Dividends are sticky. So by focusing on dividends and book value, I think old-time value investing has lost its way. So what should you do if you believe in value? You got to become much more forward-looking and dynamic. I classify myself as a value investor, but I also feel free as a value investor to buy a company like Uber, a company that would never have been on the list of old-time value investors, I think was undervalued when it hit $20 per share. So I think you need to kind of throw away the old rule book and think about value in a much more holistic, much more dynamic way. And I think you can still make it work.